All right, I am going to show you how to use Puzzle Rush to help yourself improve. We're going to go into corner mating pattern. Queen takes rook, queen takes queen. So the thing here is to do survival mode. Take the time pressure element out. That's a corner mating pattern. There's another back rank. First one, then the other. Do this for 30 straight days and your score. That's the key. If you record your score, you're going to internally force yourself to improve. All right, that is a check and a mate right there. Signs. Simple mate. That's another checkmate. Another back rank checkmate. This is a ladder checkmate here. This is the queen corner checkmate. The corner of the 3x3 matrix. Bishop takes. No. Bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes. Or is it bishop takes, pawn takes, rook takes, pawn? No. Queen takes, pawn, yes. Notice that queen is sitting on the only square that it can conveniently defend the bishop. Let's fork him. Now, if he defends this here, knight takes f2, gets a discovered attack on the queen, and then hitting the rook in the corner. So, he was in Zugzwang. Everything he did was bad. It's just bad differently. So that's knight takes free bishop. This is the least pain he could have. All right, now there's a special checkmate you need to know. And that's this rook and knight. When the rook is protected, look at the knight cuts off. The rook is a fence rook here along the second rank for white. The king protecting the rook, the knight covers the flight squares. So as my dad would say, know your checkmates. This is another fence rook. Any check is a mate, as long as he can't capture it. Well, what's winning is just this, a7. You can't stop it. Rook a8, we go rook to b8 check. This is the tactic where the rook is going to penetrate onto the square guarded by the pawn. This shields the pawn, queening square from the rook. Game over. All right, clearly queen takes check, king to d2. Queen checks on f2, king to d1, bishop f3 is checkmate. Just visualization at work. This is a ladder checkmate. Bump and score to a ladder checkmate. All right, what is this guy? Look at this guy. He's not really threatening much of anything. Just pawn takes free bishop. I'm just going to be a piece ahead. What are you going to do, Bobby Fischer? Rook checks, king to h8. He didn't even, he just resigned. Okay. Tempting, but not really that great. This is just an unblockable diagonal and a crisscross Bowden mate. All right. What do we have here? Rook to c7 check. Yes, now we have this queen attacking his queen. We rook check him. If he plays king to d8, rook to c8 is a deflection and wins the queen. Oh, I can't play rook to c7. This pawn will take it. So we'll just skewer him. Yeah, good luck with that. This is a classic deflection of the king. Now the queen is free to take. He pushes the pawn, queen to d8, game over. We almost have an unblockable diagonal. Unfortunately, he's got blockers. So if we bump this queen with d4, what is he going to do? This also unleashes a discovered attack along the awesome diagonal. So d4, queen to d3 stops this check. Well, it's a double attack. Bishop attacks rook, pawn attacks queen. This is just absolutely winning. Okay, now he'll take your queen if you take his rook. So you got to remove the liability of the hanging queen. Just trade queens and then win your material. Take the free exchange. Give up your bishop for the rook. If we play knight takes bishop, double question marks. He doesn't respond with queen takes. He responds with pawn takes. So we have just a simple pawn fork here. The thing you have to look out for is there any checks, like bishop check, c3, the bishop is still attacked by a pawn. c3, the bishop is still attacked by a pawn. Wow, that doesn't really do anything. Okay, we'll just take your bishop. Dun, 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 dun. Now, the obvious move here, rook to h3. That can be stopped, however, well, not stopped, but really inconvenienced by h6. So the way to stop that is to accelerate the plan. And that acceleration is queen takes, because look at this knight. This knight guards g7 and h6. So queen takes pawn check. King takes rook h3 check. Notice rook goes to h6, the only blocking move. Rook takes rook check. That is a checkmate. It's a variation of the Arabian mate formation. And this is a checkmate. So as my dad would say, know your checkmates. Now here we can get him with a decoy. Rook to h8 check. King can't take, but bishop can. What happens here is that this clears the line. Queen h7 check. King f8, queen to f7 checkmate by decoying the bishop. Okie dokie. If we play queen checks, bishop goes back. That's not really good for us. We cannot play bishop takes bishop because he'll respond with queen takes. Your attack vaporizes and gets rid of your queen. Right now, you're two pieces down. Oh, I don't know how to blind this. I had a momentary blindness about my d-pawn. Oh, that's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt. Boy, what a crusher. So one of the things that comes to mind, bishop h3 check. e6. And there's actually a clever move of queen captures d5 because the pawn is pinned. However, as my father would say, know your checkmates. This is a swallowtail mate. And it gets the idea from the Y formation of the queen, the C pawn, and the E7 pawn. It's a goofy formation, but this is a known checkmate. Okay. Destruction sacrifice removes the defender. Rook takes bishop check, king takes, and then rook to d7. And you have a nasty combination there. Okie dokie. Well, this guy's getting annihilated. How's he getting annihilated? Rook checks. King to g2. Knight takes f4. Check. Let's see. Do we have anything else better than that? Good question. Check king to here. Knight checks, pawn checks. Queen takes, threatening queen to g4 check. So we play rook takes, queen checks. Now, it's not convincing to me. Check king g2. Knight checks, pawn checks, queen takes f4. If he plays rook checks, queen checks. King to f1. That is a checkmate. Well, no, it's rook h1 check. Yeah, it will be checkmate. Knight to g1, rook takes g1 check. So it looks like rook h1 check. King g2, knight takes pawn check. Pawn takes, queen takes. Rook takes h1. Doesn't work because queen to g4 check. King f1, rook takes check. Knight goes back. And then rook takes, knight is a checkmate. This is what I call the superpower of the queen. You can do this attack that attacks the knight. So this used the ladder checkmate configuration. Now this is unstoppable checkmate. If we don't check him, he will checkmate us. So we got to check him. Knight checks is no good because king to a1, knight checks, and you run out of checks. But we can play rook takes, pawn check. Rook takes, pawn takes. Queen takes with check, and then checkmate. Because the d4 pawn prevents the defense. Oh, that's very clever, Grasshopper. Well, we're going to get him with an unblockable diagonal. We must check him. Check. This will deflect the defender of c3. Rook takes. Queen to c3 check. And that's a rook will come up, and then that's a checkmate. So know your checkmates is what my dad would tell you. Okie dokie. Well, this is the crusher move. We're threatening a bump and score checkmate, and also queen takes free rook, and another checkmate with queen takes g2. So this threatens three different things: a rook, a bump and score checkmate, and a straight queen to g2 checkmate. He's got nothing. He resigns. Okie dokie. This knight's super powerful. We don't want to trade this off. Knight takes knight. Queen takes, and your attack is vaporized. Now you're losing. White is an exchange up. So we want to pin this knight, pardon me, and we want to destroy this castle formation. That's what we're going to do. Well, he just gives up the queen for 2 pieces. That's fantastic. And we shall take it. Now we're winning clearly. All right, the obvious move. Sometimes the obvious move is the best move. Bishop takes check. King goes to g8. What are you going to do there, Bobby Fischer? That's a good question. That's the secret. The secret is you need to see this in your mind before you play it. So takes king to g8, and you have to see, after you take king to g8, you have to know your checkmates. Is what my dad would tell you. Bishop to g6 produces an unstoppable checkmate formation of rook to e8. There's nothing he could do. Queen to e5, or he can do a spite check. You either do queen to e5, you just play rook takes queen, or you can play a spite check, queen to fg or h1, king takes, and then he gets mated. When he runs out of checks, it's checkmate. So this is crushing. And we just go here. This is an unstoppable checkmate with rook to e8 check. Okay. Check. Well, it's not unstoppable check. It's unstoppable for holding the material even. So he would go queen to f8, rook takes, and we're just a bishop up. It's game over. Well, he has a weakness. That weakness is h7. This doesn't do anything, by the way. You can't queen sacrifice. You don't have any development. You have a knight and a queen developed. Your king is developed, but that's defensive development. Okay, but we do have a threat of mate, and the problem he has is the only thing that can stop this checkmate is interposing the bishop for free. Well, actually, it's not for free. But if he interposes the bishop, knight takes f7 is a smothered mate. Okay, so this move is crushing. If he plays bishop to f5, that's a checkmate. Knight takes f7. If he interposes the pawn, then what are you going to do, Bobby Fischer? That's a good question. All right, I was thinking originally that we had knight takes bishop, but that doesn't do anything. Oh, we have a zingaroo. Knight to g5, f5. We have queen takes f5. You can take the queen because of the smothered mate, so he can't take that queen. And then we're starting checkmate again. This is just nasty. Eat this. And that's a smothered mate. Okie dokie. Now, this is something I like to call the infiltration. And it's the infiltration check. We're going to decoy the king to a bad square so that we can play queen takes f2. And this is the infiltration. We're 2 squares away from the king. This is what I call the infiltration check. And then we swing the rook over, and that's game over, baby. Okie dokie. Well, we got a couple of ideas here. You can play a knight check. You have an idea of a knight check here and pawn captures. Then how do you follow this up? Well, the answer is we don't use this knight. We go knight checks, pawn takes, rook checks. This is the knight. This is the closest you can get to having a fence knight. The knight closes off f8 and f6. f7 is blocked. So you have a mini rook here. Knight, pawn, and knight. So knight g to f6 check, pawn captures is a checkmate. If he doesn't take it, he has to take it. So pawn takes is forced. Rook to g3 check using the artificial rook of knight control, block, and knight control. King goes to the h7 square, and then we finish him with knight takes f6 check. Outstanding. But this is all, I'm doing all this with visualization. I'm just visualizing this before I play the moves. You're on this like white on rice. Okie dokie. Couple of ideas. Rook check. King takes knight. Wow, that's a checkmate, right? Can't take the knight. If he takes my knight, Isn't queen to c6 a checkmate? This is where visualization comes in handy. We're going to play rook checks here, making this a fence rook, so the king can never go back to the d line. King takes knight. This looks like a checkmate to me. This is just a ladder checkmate, kind of in the middle of the board, because all the squares behind his king. Look at this. This rook on d8 would guard this. This is the fence rook. This is blocked, blocked, and blocked. That king can't go. That's a checkmate. So rook check. He can go here. King to c2. What are you going to do, Bobby Fischer? Actually, oh man, I want to take that, but it doesn't work. Rook takes, bishop takes. Oh yes, it does. Rook takes, bishop takes, queen takes. You're getting checkmated. Fence rook time. Now, let's take a look. You can't go to the e-file because we have queen on e2, knight, and queen. Another mini rook right here. Boom, you're dead. That's what I expected. Rook takes, pawn takes. I'm sorry, rook takes knight, check. Bishop takes, queen takes, check, and then checkmate on b2. Oh, clever, aren't you? Well, it still loses. Same story. Check and mate. Okay, now here's an idea. We can set up an unstoppable checkmate with queen to f3, right? Well, it's not unstoppable. It's almost unstoppable. And almost doesn't get it. He'll play knight takes bishop. And you're a piece down. He's got this extra knight. You're a piece down. You're annihilated if he trades off this bishop. This is a super bishop on the awesome diagonal. So here's how you do it. You got to see this. This is what is known as an open fianchetto. When you have open fianchettos, you have specific tactics become available, like queen takes h2 check. Kaboom. This is the corner remaining pattern. We're going to put the rook on h1 and checkmate him. Guarded by the bishop on the awesome diagonal. Okie dokie, what do we got here? Well, we can check him and check him again. I don't know what this is getting us. We also have a nasty threat. And the nasty threat is this threat. And this brings up something that's really, it's so obvious, it never occurred to me until just a couple of weeks ago. That every time you queen a pawn, you either queen the pawn with a check or without a check. But it's the with the check that's an absolute super bonus. And it's so obvious that, we just never think of it. So this threatens the queen with check. It's not just a queen, it's a queen with check, which is a double whammy. The knights guard each other. Rook takes knight doesn't help him. It would help him, but it doesn't help him because we're going to queen with check. So g7, let's say he plays rook takes knight. Well, we could take this, or we could just queen with check and then take it. Good enough for me. Okay. Now you'll notice, let me look on my screen here. Actually, you won't notice this because you can't see it. Okay, well, I should probably move my lovely face because look at this. Let's move this. Well, that covers up. Well, I'll just hide back here. There's no good place to move this. The best place to do it is here. We'll move it behind the board and the markers. Now you see 41 and no. All right. This is just 41 straight. So we're on a good roll here. All right, what's going on? We're down 2 pieces. We can make a queen pretty quickly. We have this. Looks like the best idea, using the concept of ladder checkmate rooks. So rook checks, king to d3, and then f2 threatening the queen with check. So the problem he runs into, he can check us. Rook checks, king to e7, rook could check again, rook to c7. Then just, king to f6, what are you going to do? There's nothing you can do here. I'm going to queen this pawn, and there's another dadgum thing he can do to stop it. Because the rook is here on e1 after check, king d3, f2, threatening to queen it with a check, and we're going to summarily mate this guy, I think. So we have the general vision of what's going on now. The lazy player says that's good enough, and it might be, but you don't win tournaments by being lazy. You win tournaments by being the opposite of lazy. We're going to work this out. Rook e1 check, king to d3, f2. Now, does f1 equals queen check? Is that a checkmate? The answer is no. He can go king to d2, but rook to f2 check is a checkmate. All right, so this is a checkmating sequence. Rook checks, king to d3, f2. If he wants to go king to c4, we're going to queen with check anyway. We would just queen with check anyway. And I think the rest of this is fairly obvious. I don't think the rook h4 check is a good idea. This looks like a blunder. King to e3. You can play f2, it's fine. You can play d3 again. King can go to d3 again. f2. I don't know, it seems off. It seems wrong. My spidey senses don't like that. They like this one. Sometimes chess is a weird game where the one you like is not the right move. I don't think this is right because there's just too many escaping squares. We're making a constricting net with rook to e1 check. Rook e1 check. King d3 is the only move. This is another helpful hint. When the king has only one move, 99% of the time, that's the right move. Rook checks, king to here. f2, threatening the queen with check. Like I say, you can check me. You can play rook d6 check, king e7, rook c7 check, king to f6, and I'm escaping. You can't checkmate me. This is just, so obvious. But one of the things you learn from chess masters at tournaments is they're like, okay, now let's double check this again. We have the idea already of queen on f1. When we queen on f1, it's a check, and he's just getting checkmated. I don't see anything. There's that check I told you about. That doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. These moves are obvious. Now, this is another one of my dad's rules. It was really a crusher. He nailed me with this when I was a little kid, and it was like, man, what a freak. It was really funny because when I was a kid learning, my dad was like an unbeatable computer. It was ridiculous. But you see, my dad had this rule. Oh, I see you have a strong light square bishop. Well, I'm just going to operate on the dark squares. Goodbye. Goodbye. Gee, where am I going to go? There's only one move, dark square, away from the bishop. Ooh, that's impressive. Not really. We're just going to queen with check. Nah, he resigns. And rightfully so. Okay, what is going on? His queen is almost trapped. That might not be a useful attribute. He's threatening to play queen takes h6 if I move my queen. We have an idea, though, of knight here attacking the queen and then playing knight to f4, putting a double attack on the g file. Now there's another idea that just comes to mind. What if I sacrifice? Rook takes to draw the king here. So rook takes pawn check, king takes, knight g6 hitting the queen, and then we're going to come back and go knight f4 check, but he's got king to f3. I don't have any pieces that can probably get to this guy. So that idea is rook check, king takes, knight g6 followed by knight f4. I don't think it's a big deal. He just plays king f3. And I don't have a dark square attacker to get to his king. So he'll just go, if I even checked him again, he'd go king to e3, d2, c1, and get the heck out of Dodge. Or e3, d3, c2. He has an escape route. Like takes, and the king comes here, he'll go here, here, here. He'll run away. And we have no development. Now we have development. But back rank development is usually not good. And the second rank development on rooks is not good either. But we have here, knight here, queen, let's just say, well, you don't want to go, he's got a bad problem. I get to tempo his queen. I'm going to hit this. If he goes knight to h5, I tempo the queen. I'm forking the queen on h5 or h3 and g2 at the same time. So I don't need to accelerate this with the sacrifice. The slow motion move is going to get it with here, because no matter where he goes, he can only go to 2 squares. Well, he can go to 4 squares. Okay. When I attack his queen, he can go h3 or h5, or he can go to g3 or g4. But those g pawns, as you can see, are on the rook line. So knight g6, queen, if he goes, for example, queen to g3, well, knight to f4, and I'm not attacking the queen with a knight, but I've got a double attack. Knight attacks g2, and the rook is x-ray attacking g2 through the queen, and the rook's attacking the queen. So really, knight g6, queen g3, knight f4 is just winning. Now I'm threatening to check him and win his queen. He'll go queen to f3, and now we're just going to rook takes pawn check up yours, followed by rook 7 to g7, because the knight sits here completely defended. This is just over. You're just losing, buddy. You're just losing, buddy. And this is all visualization. Okay. So when in doubt, always ask yourself, what's he trying to do to me? For the life of me, I can't figure it out. This doesn't do anything. King takes free pawn. Or it'd be a queen. But you get the general drift. We'll take this. I should just probably do this. And just queen this. He's walked. This is the problem he has. By going this way, this becomes the fence rook. All right? And that king never moves off of that H file. I'm sorry, that's not H, that's the A file. The king never moves off the A file. He's stuck there. He can play rook to G2, for example. But that doesn't do anything. Actually, it does something. Something very minuscule. Okay, I'm thinking A3. If he goes rook to B7, A2, what are you going to do, Bobby Fischer? Take my rook? I'm going to queen with check, you moron. I'm going to queen this with check. Now, I don't want to trade. If he goes rook to B7, I don't want to play rook takes. King takes. He's threatening a queen on me. With check, no less, that jerk. So you got to be careful. There's another idea that you're going to play the prophylaxis move of king to C8. Is this king to C8 necessary is the question. King to C8, the problem is, let's just assume this isn't necessary. Is it a bad move? Well, look, he can't do anything. If he moves his rook, we take rook moves. If rook moves, we just to B7, rook takes rook, wins the rook. If he goes rook checks, king takes c7, and now you can move your rook. It doesn't matter because we're going to threaten to queen this. We've got this rook completely pinning this king down to the A line. But can we just straightforward a3, rook b7, a2, rook captures rook, queens with check. He's going to defend with king to b7. Now he's threatening to do something. The only check we could have on him, queen checks in the corner. King to, I don't know, b8 or b6. Yeah, king to b6 is no good. We'd have just queen here and you're in trouble. I think king to c8 is really winning. But is it net? We're winning a3, rook b7, a2, rook takes rook, queen takes. But this is queen versus rook and pawn on the 7th rank. Is very difficult to win. It's winnable, but difficult. King to c8. He is in complete Zugzwang. Everything he does loses. King to a5, a3. What are you going to do, Bob Fisher? King to a4? You know, because now we're threatening once again. Well, we can't actually let him take the rook because his rook will be on the defensive square. So, king to c8, king to a5. Pawn moves because it's under attack. a3. King to a4, he's forking us. We cannot play a2. King takes rook, and his rook's defending the queening square. So we can't do that. We'd have to move. Oh, man. What a jerk. I think king c8 loses. Well, it draws. King c8, king a5, a3, king to a4, attacking both rook and pawn. And if we move the rook, for example, king to here, well, then the king can move king to b4. And if I play rook takes pawn, he plays rook takes pawn. So it looks like king to c8 draws. This is the only winning move. We cannot trade. This loses by force. So rook takes rook, king takes rook, he will queen. Oh man. The stockfish of doom. It didn't unclick the piece, and so it took it. When I had showed you the winning idea. So that's unfortunate. This is threatening to checkmate this guy here. So I was robbed by explaining it to you and accidentally clicking on there. This threatens to win if he plays rook takes rook check, king to d7, rook to d1 check, king to e7, and then queen takes check. Taking here doesn't do you any good. Rook takes, rook takes. You can't exchange these off. This is the winning move. The weakness, this forces a weakness. This b6 creates a weakness on the awesome diagonal that the queen exploits. So, he goes here, and that just loses by force. He doesn't have anything else to do because everything he does is worse. I'm threatening a check, and a rook checks here is nasty. I'm also threatening a triple attack on this rook. So rook takes rook, rook takes rook, rook takes check, queen takes, and I'm just a queen up. So we get him here with a deflection. Now obviously this X here is one I did correctly, but the click of the mouse, because it didn't unclick, and I hate that. It is very, annoying because we had the correct winning sequence, which I will show you. This is just winning. Rook takes check, king here, rook h7 check. What are you going to do, Bobby Fischer? I mean, this is just this is here's an Arabian checkmate is what this position of knight and rook is. Oh, I see. He's got bishop takes. Yeah, well, not today. How about queen takes free bishop? Rook takes queen, rook checks, king at g7, and then rook. We have the rook on f1 defending this. Okay, this is the key. There's an x-ray defense of rook defends knight. So the general idea is that this check leads to a checkmate, but not with the bishop defending. So we do this. I got to unclick this rook and play this move. And this is an Arabian checkmate, as my dad would say. Know your checkmates. Okay, now look at this. This guy's annihilated. Now we're going to use this fence rook right here. Hit him with the check. Gives us a... Unclick it, dummy. Hit him with a check. Gives us a ladder checkmate. We're going to force the king here to a5, and then rook takes h. I'm sorry, not a5. King to h4, and then rook takes h2, check. King to here, and he gets checkmated by queen to f6. All right, this is all visualization. So check, forces king h4, rook takes pawn check, forces king to g5, the only move. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I get this incorrect. No problem. I can just rook check him and win his queen. At the very least. No, actually, I got a different move. Queen. Yeah, this is I got a, hesitation check. Queen to e7 check, king to f5, and that's a checkmate. No, it's not a checkmate, but it will be. Isn't this just checkmate with a pawn? I'm going to tell you, I got lazy on this problem. I was doing this visually instead of visualization is how I should have done this. So let's do it here. I am correct. This is my spidey senses taking over. Okay, here's the deal. This is how you really do it. Queen e3 check, king h4. Rook takes h2 check. King to g5 only move. Queen goes to e7. That's the only useful check that we have. h6 check doesn't get it. So queen to e7 check, king to f5. And then the queen is a fence queen on e7 guarding the diagonal and the e file. So g6 is a checkmate because his king would be on f5. These are guarded by the queen. e4, e5, e6, blocked on g and f4. Queen guards g5, pawn guards g6. This h7 pawn will guard the pawn, checkmating here. So this is absolutely crushing. g6 is checkmate. Know your checkmates. Or in this case, one of the things of know your checkmates is know the physical checkmate formations, the basic ones, and then be able to visualize the sequences, combinations of checkmate. Right off the top of my head. Well, see, we got two ideas really. Queen to f3 check. Another, you have a fence rook, all right? So this is a fence rook. Owns the b file. So if we go queen f3 check, that pushes him to c2 or d2 because of the fence rook and the fence queen. Or we can play this one, is what I just showed you, or we can play this one using a ladder sequence. King to d3 is the only move, and what happens if we just play rook to b3 check? It looks like he's getting annihilated because he's got king to e2 as the only move he can play. And again, we have, let's see, rook to b3, check, king to d3, rook to b3 check, king to e2. We cannot go to e3 though. We have queen to c2. He could play knight to d2. It looks very dangerous for him because we have queen to d3 check guarded by the rook. And he would go... The only way he can defend the knight is king to e1 or d1. He's getting annihilated. This is annihilation. We cannot play this move, which we would love to play, because that's a checkmating sequence of rook checks guarded by the queen diagonally, but knight would take. So again, I think this is the move here. Check. This is a ladder checkmate sequence. If he goes to the back rank, it's a checkmate. He has to play knight to d2. And then we go check here. And if he goes king to e1, we're just crushing him with rook to b1 check. If he goes king to d1, that's a checkmate. Oh, I'm sorry. No, if he goes king to e1, we cannot check him because the knight would take it. We go queen to e3 check, attacking the knight. Yeah, he's getting annihilated. And I don't know where the hell this piece goes, so let's do this. There we go. Okay. Yes, queen to c2 check is the correct move. Oh, it's not correct? Oh, okay, that's my mistake. Check. With the bishop, not the queen. Let's check him with the bishop, get this bishop out of dodge, as they say. Well, we could play... That's a toughie. Bishop checks. He's got the bishop to d2. If I play knight takes, bishop takes bishop. Don't like that. Queen checks, bishop to d2. Oh, I actually have another move. And the other move is this move. Boom. But he'll take your queen. Well, will he? Let's look and see what happens. Knight takes knight. There's probable brilliancy. Bishop takes queen. Because what happens is, you notice, the king has only one square to move to. So we own this d2 square. So knight takes knight gives us d2 control. And for his king, can't move there. He's got knight and queen, but his king can't move is the key. Knight takes, bishop takes queen, bishop checks. If knight goes back here, we hit him with bishop takes, queen takes, knight takes. And so here what happened, this has become a desperado, and we use desperado helpers. So knight takes knight, start from the position right here. Bishop takes my queen. Bishop checks on b4. Knight goes back. The bishop can't go back, so the only knight goes back. Knight on f3 goes back to d2. Bishop takes d2 check. It's a checkmate. He has to play queen takes knight, and I play knight takes queen. So right now I'm a piece up, and the thing is, I'm a piece up. I captured 3, captured 2, and both queens are in here. So if he moves his bishop on d8, and my king is attacking, well, then I would, if he moves his bishop away, I move my knight back to e4. I'm still up 3 versus 2. Okay? If he takes my knight, I take his bishop, and it's 4 versus 3. So this is the desperado. Now, in tournaments, I just do this under the table. Do my calculations, and I just look back, and I go, this is what I see. Of course, it's this here, but I'm looking down. Never failed, not once. Absolutely devastation. I've never lost a desperado in tournament, ever. Because I have desperado helpers. All nice and legal. Goodbye. Check. Check. Goodbye. Okay, well, we're ladder checkmating this guy, sort of. Which we're trying to. Rook checks here. King is going to go. Actually, you know what? I might do the other one. I don't know. Rook checks. He goes here. What do we do? It's a toughie. Oh. We do have an interesting idea. Check here. Check there. King to h5. We can make him go to h5 or h3, whichever one's more convenient by our calculations. So we check him on g4. That's an assumption that that is the best move. It probably is, but we don't know that for a fact. Not yet, anyway. Now, we do have an idea. This threatens a checkmate. Now, the thing is, he's got a counter threat. And his threat, what's he trying to do to me? Rook d7. And he has a nasty checkmate because king to the back rank, he checks me again, king up, and then rook 1 d7. That's a checkmate. So he has an outright checkmate. Oh, I see. No, that doesn't work either. We have to check him, and then we have to stop his checkmating ideas, if possible. One way I could stop it is queen to c6. But I can also stop it with queen to c8 threatening check, and you know that's not a mate, but it's close. So that's a toughie. That is a toughie. Yeah, he's got a forced checkmate. He's threatening a checkmate. How do we stop this? Ay, 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 ay. Okay. F6 does stop it. Rook checks, king to f8. No, I can't do that. King to e8. And he just checked. That checkmates me differently. Is what that does. Okay, here's another. Well, there's a different idea that I have of this. Queen takes rook. Queen takes f4 check, and he's getting checkmated on, or loses his queen. But he doesn't have to take this with the queen. He can take my rook with the king. That jerk. And that's the problem with this idea. It's a great tactical idea. If queen takes rook, loses for him. But he doesn't have to do it. He just plays rook takes. So that's not it. What is the big threat is the question. Man, nasty. I don't have a decoy. One of the problems that I have is I don't have a queen d3 or a queen e2. I don't like this. This doesn't do anything really. Man, queen to c8 cannot be right. These moves just look completely wrong. I don't have a decoy, and that's the problem. Check, goes to there. Okay. Dude, I may have a genius move here. Like I said, we can make him move to h5 or h3. Well, look at this idea. Rook checks here. Forces him to h5. And then we hit him. King h5, we hit him with rook to g5 check. If he plays pawn takes, queen goes to g4 check. And I ladder checkmate this guy. This is one of the best moves I've ever seen. Rook checks, king h5, forced, the only legal move, and this check is crushing. If he plays queen takes rook, we play rook takes queen. If he plays pawn takes rook or king takes rook, then we can play simply pawn captures rook. This is nasty. Eat that. Outstanding. Alrighty then. What's he threatening to do to me? Really, the answer is nothing. He's got no threats. So the question becomes this. Doesn't this just win a piece? He can check me, but the checks don't do anything. So what has he got? He can't interpose on e3 because this is the line that's killing him. The rook is pinned. All right, and just rook to a3 it looks like it's crushing. He doesn't have a check or a mate threat. I say this is winning. He agrees. Oh, I can't do that. Why, you freak? Pawn takes. He forks me. That forking freak. And I don't win the endgame. So the question becomes, let's double check this. Pawn takes, knight forks, king goes up, knight takes queen. If you take the rook, king takes here, b3. No, he stops it with knight to d2 or knight to c3. So yeah, you cannot win pawn versus knight. Loses. You can play rook takes. He can play queen takes. I can take his pawn, but I don't see where that does any real value. So, oh, yes, I do win. I win this way. Queen takes rook check. Queen takes, rook takes, king takes b3, and you're one move slow. His king can't get there. Knight f4, b2, knight d3. You lose, buddy. Just a bit outside. Outstanding. Okay, well, look. It doesn't take Bobby Fischer to see this, and doesn't take Magnus Carlsen either. If this bishop is gone, I don't know. I don't even know what he's trying to do. Rook takes bishop, obviously. He's got 2 versus 1. I got 1 defender. He's threatening this. But I'm going to go rook takes bishop. Because once I do that, I get this knight check. Oh, this is nasty stuff. Look at this jerkweed. Rook takes. I'm on his queen. Because queen takes, rook takes. I mean, king. Queen takes my queen, check. King takes queen. That jerkweed, he's going to take my bishop. With check, no less. Son of a freak. Son of a freak. Well, that's very interesting. And ugly. Look at it, man. That bishop just blocks my pieces. You stupid freak. He's threatening to take my knight. Good grief, Charlie Brown. Don't make me angry. I could play knight checks. Bishop takes, queen takes. He's got rook takes bishop, and I don't really have anything else. Except maybe rook to c2. Actually, no, he can play just rook to d2 and block me. You are a jerk and a half. Ugh. What am I doing? Man, that other one, I pulled a rabbit out of the hat with the rook sacrifice. Rook takes bishop, queen takes queen, king takes queen, rook takes bishop, check, king moves, and then pawn takes free knight. That's what he's looking at. This he's about to be smoking me. Knight checks is the only non-losing move. I'm still losing. Okay, so knight checks, bishop takes, queen takes, rook takes my bishop. Now I could play rook to c1. Is that any good? Probably not. You can just simply play queen to e1 is the problem. Freak. Oh, good grief, man. What do we have? Oh. That doesn't... I don't know, that might work, actually. Knight takes rook. What does that do? Knight takes rook. You can't play rook takes knight or rook takes bishop. What can he play? That's a good question. What is the answer to this move? Bobby Fischer? Yeah, what are you going to do? That's a good question. What in the heck are you doing? I'm taking your rook. That's the answer. Oh man, you're asking for it now, brother. You are asking for it. Rook checks, king takes. Well, surprisingly, rook checks, king takes. If we play queen to b6, he's got... I really can't do anything directly to him is the problem. Son of a gun. And I can't... Well, you know what? I don't do that. That's not right. Rook checks is the wrong move. This is the right move. Because what are you going to do, Bobby Fischer? This is the answer. I'm threatening this checkmate. So he can stop that checkmate with bishop to c3. He can stop it with bishop to c1, but I would just play bishop takes bishop, rook takes, and then queen checkmates. So that doesn't stop it. You can stop it here momentarily. But I can hit him with bishop to b2. Or also queen to b3. Yeah, but I have unblockable diagonal. But he takes my bishop, that jerk. Can go here. He goes back to bishop to d2. Then I hammer him with the... Oh, I can't do that. If I check him, he takes... Ugh. I have this idea. I even have this idea, but... threatened to take the bishop. But if he plays pawn, bishop takes pawn, I can't do anything. Check. Check. King takes bishop. It seems unnaturally dangerous. Bishop to here. Bishop takes. That's no good. Queen takes and he's getting annihilated. Bishop to here. He's got to move his bishop. Bishop to d2. Bishop moves to here. Yeah, bishop c1, bishop takes. So this looks like a winning move because there's a bishop dance. Bishop goes to d2 and I can't checkmate him. And I can't put my queen on b4 either. So here, bishop to there, but bishop to here. Now I'm threatening to checkmate him on b2. So bishop goes to c1 and then I hit him with bishop takes on e3. Bishop d2, bishop d4 threatens to take this. Deflecting, I'm threatening to deflect his bishop. That's what I'm threatening to do with this move. Nasty. He just basically recognizes they should have played and showed the deflection sequence of bishop d2 followed by bishop to d4. If he takes the bishop, I checkmate him. So he goes bishop to c1, and then I go bishop takes e3, and he can't take the bishop. Queen takes bishop, rook takes queen, and if a bishop takes bishop, I checkmate him again. So the bishop deflection dance was pretty awesome that they did not allow us to do. So I'll just take a bishop. He'll just take my rook. It's check, so I just got to take it back. It's no big deal. That was another genius idea. Look at this beauty. Knight checks. King e7. You can't take the knight because it's pinned. So king e7, check. Not check. Knight takes rook. King takes rook. We go check. King to e7. Doesn't do anything. He's threatening rook to be rook to g8. So knight checks, king to e7, knight takes rook, king takes rook, knight e6 check. I can't lose this game because no matter how he, well, that's not true. Check, king to e7. I don't have a check there, so that loses. I can check him. King to e7. Rook takes pawn. Rook takes rook. Or I can check him here, and he can't move forward. Knight checks, king to e6. He's threatening this. So check will stop it. And it goes king to e7 is not possible. The knight's blocking it. King to e6, however, super bogus. You have a knight check, though. Then king to e7. I don't like this at all. I feel I'm missing something. Check, king e7. Rook takes pawn. Rook takes rook. I don't know, man. The other idea would be king to b7. Rook to g8. Rook takes pawn. Or I can just play rook takes c4. He has a hard time getting back, but he can still get back. Rook to d7, c3, rook to d1. Yeah, I don't know. Good question. Yeah, this is a toughie. What sacrifice? Rook checks. I mean, knight checks. King to e6. Rook takes. That doesn't work. Knight e8. King e7. Rook takes. You just walked into it's worse than it was. Rook takes pawn. Rook takes c4. Problem he has is that he can play king to e5. Ugh. Knight d5 check. King to e6. Knight to f4 check. Because king to e7. Rook takes. Oh, man. Check. I don't know. Bam, bam. Takes c4. Takes, and then really, c4. But he's got really king to e5. c3, he's got, rook goes to f1 or whatever, it's fine. He's just winning. Bam. Bam. Well, let's check him. King e7, knight takes rook, king takes rook. Do we have anything of knight e6 check? Bang, bang, bang. Oh, king is on f8. Gotcha. Oh, yes, the move I missed was not obvious. Check, king e7. Knight takes, king takes, knight to f5. Because if he moves to, notice the knight blocks the dark squares. If he goes to either white square, I check him and fork and win because I have 2 versus 1 on the queen side. This is a nasty win. I missed it. I thought knight checks, king takes, knight takes, king f8, knight check is the answer. The answer is knight to not e6 check, double question mark. And I saw that wasn't working. Knight to f5. He's in Zugzwang. Everything he does loses. He's in Zugzwang. I got a passed pawn I'm going to push. And if he moves to a light square, knight, king to g8, knight h6 check, forks king and pawn, knight, if it goes king to e8, knight to d6. This is awesome. Outstanding. This is the move. Got him. He was in Zugzwang. Adios, muchacho. Can't fake this. Now, oh geez, look at this nastiness. If he moves his king here, him in heap big trouble. We got a discovered check. How do we get there? Well, actually not there. We have a different idea. Here, bishop checks. And this knight no longer is checking his king, but it moves. Knight takes free knight will unlock a checkmate threat. I'm just saying, just off the top of my head, knight takes free knight. I might have something better. Bishop checks, king to b8. Knight takes knight. What are we at? We're already a piece up. This is, our development is just absolute trash. And that doesn't, oh, that's not the move? What the heck? Well, you know, that's the way it goes. Now, the first one, like I said, that was a mouse click or a mouse unclick, you know, error that robbed me because I had the correct solution. Let's look at this guy and see what's up. So bishop check is not the move. That's the move that looked like it's absolutely winning. I guess I can just play knight takes free knight, though. I looked at this also, but he's got queen takes. I didn't like this. Oh, check with the queen in the corner. And then queen b8, bishop to a6 is checkmate. My mistake. Okay, I got it now. Okay, I don't remember what the... Yeah, we did this. Checked him. And it said queen to c2 check is not winning. That's just bull. I'm telling you, that's the move. Oh, it's queen takes knight. I for some reason, even right now, I didn't see that I could just take the knight with check. I still say queen to c2 check is winning. Queen to c2 check is winning. Knight d2, queen checks. Now, it wins less efficiently. It takes more moves. But the rule that my dad had is correct. Play the win you see. Now this is different. Okay. This is different. This is actually the best move. We see this. In a real tournament, probably would see this move. But it does happen where you miss moves. All right. It's happened to world championship, you know, matches. This is just the way it is. So, queen to c2 check. King d2. Queen checks. I don't know. Are we winning? This is a good question. I'm trying to calculate this. Ding. Ding, ding, ding. You can't go away from the knight because I take it with check. All right. So king to e1. Because king to d1 loses to checkmate. King to e1 is the only move. And then we hit him. Oh, we can't go queen to there. Ah, we got another move. That's good, though. Queen to g3 check. Dude, it is super dangerous. Okay, that's not working, actually. I don't know how I missed that. And this one doesn't count. It counts here in the computer, but we have the win on this. This is the correct move I played. He played this move, and the winning move is A2. Okay, but the mouse click error took the rook. So I didn't make a chess mistake here. The only chess mistake I made was on the other two problems. All right. So this is A2. And what I told you, we calculated this out. This is just winning. And I think queen to H1 check is the correct move. That's exactly correct. And now it's over for you, brother. But you got to be careful. Queen to C6. That is not correct. We have to stop this threat of rook checks on D3. We can check him here. And he comes forward. Yeah, we have to go. Actually, queen to H8 check wins. If he goes to A7, we just take it. And if he goes to, if he goes king to A7, we take the pawn. If he goes king to B7, queen to C8 check, and then we take it with the queen. So queen to H8 is the correct move. Yes. Now if he queens, we just take the queen, obviously. So this one I had completely solved in chess moves, but the mouse click error. So that's okay. But, it's still difficult, queen versus rook, but it is winning. It's a forced win, but it's a difficult, complicated win. You got some work to do. So, okay, missed two problems, all right? Now, that's the thing. Like I said, that one we just showed you was a mouse clicking error, not a chess error, okay? And it only counts, quote unquote, in this format because here a mouse click error is the Stockfish of Doom, red X, okay? So, that's 3 strikes and you're out, okay, whatever. So I don't worry about that. The most important thing always for me when I do survival mode, 50 plus. Anything less than 50 is a complete failure. You see why. I should do 50 plus every time, and I do it almost every time. But super important positions to learn from. This will help you. And this is what I say. You do this every day for 30 days in a row. Write your number of what you get. And the lower ranked you are, the bigger gap jump you're going to make from day 1 to day 30. Your brain is going to internally make you better from all the previous day's mistakes. And this is what you're trying to do. You're trying to find problems that are difficult that cause you to make a mistake. And then we have to analyze the mistake and see what we did to correct it. If you misanalyze your mistake, you don't gain anything. You have to find the correct answer of why you failed. That's the key. So, like I said, the one we just did here, that doesn't really count in the chess context. It counts in this game, counts in the score. It doesn't count. It's not a chess mistake. That's all that I'm really interested in. A mouse click error that you saw, whatever, dude. You saw me. I had all the moves without any, there was no doubt at all. Okay. These I made a mistake. These were chess mistakes. Okay. Queen takes free knight. I missed it. It happens. Okay. You saw it happen right in front of your face. It happens. But you admit your mistake, accept it, and move forward. That's how you get better. Same thing on this one. I went for the gut reaction, the spidey senses check. I did see that I, had a check, king, and then knight goes here, but it's not a check. And I saw that knight takes, queen takes would be the answer, but I didn't realize I had a hesitation check of queen in the corner, moving his queen to a decoy bad square. Then bishop a6 crushes him. So I had the right moves. I actually did see knight takes b6 in analysis, but I had the order wrong. So I made a chess mistake by getting the incorrect order. And, that's no problem. It happens all the time. It's not a big deal. It's a common mistake. Easy to understand. No problem. So all the mistakes that were made, we have the solution for those. It's not a big deal. So this is very positive for myself and positive for you. You guys got to see not only the correct moves. Man, I made some awesome ones. The rook sacrifice. That was an unbelievable thing where I thought we were getting checkmated. Where is that problem? Not there. It's over here somewhere. I don't know. Trying to find it. That's not it. That's not it. See, I thought it was deep. I thought it was down in here somewhere. That end game right there was a masterpiece of Zugzwang. Absolute Zugzwang masterpiece. Where was that rook sacrifice? The one where I played rook to g5 and he could take it with a pawn, but he didn't because he loses differently. It was a fantastic one. Well, whatever. I don't know, man. Where the heck is this dude hiding? That was a difficult problem. That's it. Yes, he took the pawn on h4. This was the masterpiece of sacrificing the rook. And then the other one, the absolute masterpiece, was the Zugzwang, the knight, going to f5. Super problems. This is great stuff for you guys to see. And the thing that's great about it is that it's all real, live, no editing. Don't know what's going to happen. Whatever happens, you got to whip its butt. And I whipped 52 butts, okay? Really, I got this one as well. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So, great stuff. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Take the 30-day challenge. It will change your game for the better. I'll see you guys later. Thanks again. Oh, yes, and please like and subscribe, okay?